Germs are all around us, both in our environment and in our bodies. When a person is susceptible and they encounter a harmful organism, it can lead to disease and death. The body has many ways of defending itself against disease-causing organisms, also called pathogens. A skin, mucus and cilium, microscopic hairs that move debris away from the lungs, all work as physical barriers to prevent pathogens from entering the body in the first place. When a pathogen does infect the body, our body defenses, called the immune system, are triggered and the pathogen is attacked and destroyed or overcome. But when your body doesn't recognize pathogens, the vaccination is the safest way to protect you against an infectious disease. Once you have been vaccinated, the body should have the ability to fight off the disease if they come into contact with it. They will have a level of protection or immunity against the disease. But how do vaccines do that? Or how do vaccines work? To understand how vaccines work, it helps to first look at how the body fights illness. Our body fights with invaders with the help of a very intelligent and most complex system after the human brain called the immune system. The immune system is a network of cells, tissues and organs that work together to help fight off infections from harmful bacteria or viruses. There are about 100 trillion bacteria and viruses on your body. Not all of them cause disease, but some are able to get inside our bodies to multiply, and this can make us ill. When a disease-causing agent such as bacteria or viruses invades the body, they attack and multiply. This invasion, called an infection, is what causes illness. Then your immune system recognizes it as a harmful and will trigger a response to destroy it. The immune system uses several tools to fight infection. Blood contains red blood cells for carrying oxygen to tissues and organs, and white blood cells, also called immune cells, for fighting infection. These white cells consist primarily of macrophages, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. The first time the body encounters a germ, it can take several days to make and use all the germ fighting tools needed to get over the infection. One of the ways your immune system fights off disease is by creating large proteins known as antibodies. The antibodies produced in response to the pathogen antigen are an important part of the immune system. You can consider antibodies as a soldier in your body defense system. Each antibody or soldier in our system is trained to recognize a specific antigen. We have thousands of different antibodies for thousands of different types of bacteria and viruses, and even for coronavirus. When the human body is exposed to an antigen for the first time, it takes time for the immune system to respond and produce antibodies specific to that antigen. In the meantime, the person is susceptible to becoming ill. Once the antigen-specific antibodies are produced, they work with the rest of the immune system to destroy the pathogen and stop the disease. Antibodies to one pathogen generally don't protect against another pathogen except when two pathogens are very similar to each other, like cousins. Once the body produces antibodies in its primary response to an antigen, it also creates antibody-producing memory cells, also called T lymphocytes, which remain alive even after the pathogen is defeated by the antibodies. If the body is exposed to the same pathogen more than once, the antibody response is much faster and more effective than the first time around, because the memory cells are at the ready to pump out antibodies against that antigen. This means that if the same disease is encountered again, your immune system has a memory of the disease and is ready to quickly destroy it before you get sick and any symptoms can develop. Sometimes, however, the immune system doesn't always win this initial battle against the harmful bacteria or virus, and you can become very ill or in extreme cases die. When your body doesn't make antibodies against a bacteria or virus that your body has yet to encounter, vaccination is the safest and most common way to get immunity against those pathogens. Vaccines help develop immunity by imitating an infection. This type of infection, however, almost never causes illness, but it does cause the immune system to produce T lymphocytes and antibodies. Each vaccine will be made up of slightly different ingredients depending on the disease it is targeting. All vaccines contain an active component, also called the antigen, which generates an immune response, or the blueprint for making the active component. The active ingredient in a vaccine is a very small amount of the killed, greatly weakened or broken down parts of the bacteria or virus you are vaccinating against. It may be also a small part of the disease-causing organism like protein or sugar. Vaccines also contain a small amounts of preservatives and stabilizers such as sorbitol and citric acid. These can already be found in the body or in food, usually in much larger quantities than the amount used in a vaccine. However, the most abundant ingredient in a vaccine is water. The bacteria or viruses will be killed, greatly weakened or broken down into a small parts before using the vaccine so that they can trigger an immune response without making you sick. Your immune system will still attack the harmless form of bacteria or virus from the vaccine and will produce antibodies to fight it off. Sometimes after getting a vaccine, the imitation infection can cause minor symptoms such as fever. Such minor symptoms are normal and should be expected as the body builds immunity. Once the imitation infection goes away, the body is left with a supply of memory T lymphocytes as well as B lymphocytes that will remember how to fight that disease in the future. However, it typically takes a few weeks for the body to produce T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes after vaccination. Therefore, it is possible that a person infected with a disease just before or just after vaccination could develop symptoms and get a disease because the vaccine has not had enough time to provide protection. Some vaccines require multiple doses given weeks or months apart. This is sometimes needed to allow for the production of long-lived antibodies and the development of memory cells. In this way, the body is trained to fight the specific disease-causing organism, building up the memory of the pathogen so as to rapidly fight it if and when exposed in the future. Some people believe that naturally acquired immunity or immunity from having the disease itself is better than the immunity provided by vaccines. However, natural infections can cause severe complications and be deadly. This is true even for diseases that many people consider mild, like chickenpox. It's impossible to predict who will get serious infections that may lead to hospitalization. Throughout the history of the human era, humans have successfully developed vaccines for a number of life-threatening diseases, including meningitis, tetanus, measles, and wild poliovirus. In the early 1900s, polio was a worldwide disease, paralyzing hundreds of thousands of people every year. By 1950, 2 effective vaccines against the disease had been developed, but vaccination in some parts of the world was still not common enough to stop the spread of polio, particularly in Africa. In the 1980s, a united worldwide effort to eradicate polio from the planet began. Over many years and several decades, polio vaccination has taken place in all continents using routine immunization visits and mass vaccination campaigns. Millions of people, mostly children, have been vaccinated, and in August 2020, the African continent was certified wild poliovirus free, joining all other parts of the world except Pakistan and Afghanistan, where polio has not yet been eradicated.